Alright, folks, buckle up because today we're diving into one of the wildest matchups you never thought you'd see: gorilla versus hippopotamus. Imagine brains meeting brute force in the ultimate showdown between the king of the jungle gym and the heavyweight champ of the river. Picture this: a silverback gorilla, all biceps and brain power, squaring off against a hippo that's basically a tank with teeth. It's like David versus Goliath, but with way more muscle and way less slingshot. Let me paint you a picture. The gorilla, weighing in around 400 to 500 pounds, is like a walking muscle factory standing over 5 feet tall. This guy's got hands so strong they could bend steel bars like they're made of spaghetti, no joke. On the other side, the hippo's a beast, tipping the scales at nearly 4,000 pounds and stretching up to 15 feet long, sporting skin almost 2 inches thick and a head that looks like a hammer ready to smash. You're basically looking at a furry, tree-climbing bodybuilder going head-to-head with a river monster that could crush a car. Here's what makes this so fascinating. Dr. Elijah Moore, a wildlife expert, says, the gorilla has the brain of a 5-year-old kid, full of smarts and strategy, while the hippo is pure instinct like a bulldozer with teeth. So you've got brains on one side and raw power on the other, and both are ready to prove their dominance. If you've ever seen a gorilla in action, you know these guys can move pretty fast, up to 20 miles per hour on all fours, scaling trees like pros, and even using tools like sticks and rocks for defense. Hippos might look slow on land, but they can sprint nearly as fast, around 19 to 22 miles per hour, and underwater. Forget about it, they glide like living torpedoes. So imagine these two crossing paths near a riverbank. Things could escalate quickly and unpredictably. When it comes to weapons, the gorilla throws powerful punches and can bite if cornered, using intelligence and agility to outmaneuver opponents. The hippo, however, has a bite force over 2,000 psi with massive jaws that can snap a crocodile in half. That's some serious firepower right there. Now, while gorillas usually avoid fights and prefer to intimidate with chest beats and loud roars, hippos are notoriously unpredictable and will charge aggressively if provoked, even by the slightest disturbance. My take: if this were a game of chess, the gorilla might checkmate the hippo, but if it turns into a no-holds-barred brawl, the hippo's sheer destructive power makes it the favorite 9 times out of 10. So who wins? In the thick jungle away from water, the gorilla's got the upper hand, using smarts, speed, and trees to stay alive and avoid conflict. Near the water, where the hippo rules, no challenger under 2 tons is walking away unscathed. Bottom line, hippo wins the fight, but gorilla wins the heart and mind. And honestly, that's a showdown worth watching. Alright, let's kick things off with size and build the ultimate showdown between the muscle-packed gorilla and the swamp's heavyweight champion, the hippopotamus. Picture the silverback gorilla, weighing in around 400 to 500 pounds and standing about 5.5 feet tall. This guy is pure muscle from head to toe. With an arm strength estimated to be 10 times that of a strong adult human, this gorilla could snap light steel bars like they were made of paper. Seriously, it's like nature's very own bodybuilder with a heart of gold. Now, swing over to the hippo. This massive river beast tips the scales at a whopping 4,000 pounds and stretches up to 15 feet long. Think of it as a small, armored tank with skin nearly 2 inches thick and a head shaped like a giant sledgehammer. And no, it's not just a fat blob, it's solid muscle and bone, built for power and endurance. If you ever hear a hippo charging, you better believe it sounds like a freight train barreling through the swamp. Here's where things get even cooler. Wildlife expert Dr. Elijah Moore breaks it down perfectly. The gorilla has the smarts of a 5-year-old kid, full of curiosity and strategy, while the hippo operates on pure instinct. It's like the difference between a clever tactician and a living wrecking ball, so it's brains versus brute force in the ring. To me, this size and strength contrast is what makes their potential encounter so fascinating. The gorilla's impressive strength and intelligence give it an edge in problem-solving and agility. Meanwhile, the hippo's sheer size and thick armor-like skin make it nearly untouchable in a straight-up brawl. It's like comparing a nimble heavyweight boxer to a massive sumo wrestler, both formidable but in totally different ways. So, when we talk size and muscle, you've got a real heavyweight monster on one side and a strategic, muscle-packed athlete on the other. Who do you think takes the crown in this clash of titans? Alright, let's talk speed and agility. The gorilla's tree-climbing wizardry versus the hippo's surprising burst of land power. Picture this: A gorilla moving on all fours can hit speeds up to 20 miles per hour. That's faster than most of us can run. Plus, gorillas are insanely agile climbers. They can leap across branches, scale trees like pros, and even use simple tools like sticks or rocks to defend themselves. Imagine a furry ninja with some serious street smarts. Now, don't let the hippo's chunky, slowpoke look fool you. These river monsters can sprint between 19 to 22 miles per hour on land for short bursts pretty close to the gorilla's pace. That's like a small tank roaring across the savannah. But here's the kicker: underwater, the hippo is basically a living torpedo. It glides through the water with ease and speed, making it nearly impossible to catch. So while it might look like a bulky beast on land, in its watery kingdom, it's the fastest thing around. Imagine a scenario where a curious gorilla wanders close to the riverbank, where a hippo is casually napping. That encounter could explode into a wild, lightning-fast showdown. The gorilla's agility and cleverness might help it avoid danger, but one wrong move near a hippo could turn things ugly in seconds. Wildlife expert Dr. Elijah Moore sums it up perfectly. The gorilla is like a 5-year-old kid full of curiosity and quick moves, while the hippo is more like a living wrecking machine, pure instinct and raw power. It's brains and speed versus unstoppable force. Personally, I find this matchup fascinating because it shows how different animals evolve to master their environments. The gorilla's agility and smarts make it a survivor in the forest canopy, while the hippo's brute speed and power command respect in the river and on land. This speed duel isn't just about who's faster, but who uses their speed smarter. So next time you think about speed, don't just picture a sleek cheetah, think about a tree-swinging gorilla and a tank-like hippo bursting across the plains. Wild and unexpected, right? Let's dive into the real showdown weapons and fighting styles. On one side, we have the gorilla, the brainy brawler of the wild. This guy doesn't just throw punches randomly. Oh no, the gorilla packs a powerful fist, capable of delivering bone-shaking punches and thunderous hand slaps. Plus, when pushed into a corner, it's not afraid to bite back. What makes the gorilla truly impressive is its smarts. It's quick on its feet, using the terrain like a savvy chess player, turning trees, rocks, and even sticks into tools or shields. It's like watching a heavyweight boxer who's also got a PhD in street tactics. Now, flip the coin and meet the hippo, the jaw crusher and river tank. The hippo's fighting style is brutal in the purest sense. It doesn't dance around. It opens that gigantic mouth wide as a small door and clamps down with a bite force over 2,000 psi. That's more than enough to snap a crocodile like a twig. Its jaws can open nearly 2 feet wide, and once it bites, it crushes with terrifying power. No fancy footwork or brain games here, just raw, overwhelming force that says, back off or get flattened. Here's the kicker: while the gorilla's muscles and brain power are impressive, its skin is still. Well, skin. A single chomp from a hippo can end the fight in an instant. It's like bringing a boxing glove to a sledgehammer fight. Wildlife expert Dr. Elijah Moore once joked, if the gorilla is the clever street fighter, the hippo is the wrecking ball that smashes everything in its path. And honestly, that's pretty spot on. In my personal opinion, watching these two go at it would be like seeing brains meet brute force in the most intense showdown imaginable. The gorilla's intelligence and adaptability are incredible, but the hippo's sheer power and that deadly bite, that's a game changer. If you ever find yourself near these two, my advice: admire from afar and don't get caught in the crossfire. Alright, let's talk brains and strategy, the mental game behind these two wild heavyweights. Now, gorillas. They are not the type to jump into a fight just for the thrill of it, especially when dealing with something way bigger or more dangerous. Instead, gorillas are all about making a statement without throwing punches. Picture this: a massive silverback pounding its chest, letting out deep roars, and stomping the ground like it's saying, back off, buddy, I'm not messing around. This whole display is their way of saying, I'm strong, I'm dominant, and you better think twice before messing with me. It's intimidation 101, and most times, it works like a charm. No need to throw down when you can settle things with a little showmanship. Now, the hippopotamus, that's a whole different story. Hippos don't need much of a reason to go into attack mode. If they feel disturbed, whether it's a loud noise or just someone getting too close, they don't hesitate. They charge like a runaway tank, open those monstrous jaws wide, and snap with a bite that can crush bones in a heartbeat. After the chaos, they just saunter back to the water and chill out like nothing happened. It's almost like the hippo's motto is, "Don't make me angry, or I'll take you down and then get back to my nap." Here's my 2 cents. If this were a chess game, the gorilla would be the grandmother, thinking 5 moves ahead, using smarts to outmaneuver the opponent. But if this turned into a Mortal Kombat-style brawl, well, the hippo is the unbeatable powerhouse. You simply don't outwit a living wrecking machine. It's like trying to outsmart a bulldozer, you just can't. So when it comes to strategy, it's brains versus brute force. Both tactics are deadly in their own right, but I'd rather be the one with the brains if I ever have to make a quick escape. Alright, here's the real talk. Who's the ultimate winner when gorilla and hippo cross paths? Well, it all boils down to the setting, because in nature, context is king. Imagine a dense jungle far away from any water source. That's the gorilla's home turf. Here, the gorilla has the upper hand. It's agile, smart, and knows how to disappear into the trees or blend into the thick foliage. Its best move, avoid a deadly confrontation altogether. Sometimes, survival means knowing when to run, climb, or just play dead. So in the jungle, the gorilla is basically winning by not losing. Now flip the scene to the muddy riverbanks or the calm waters where the hippo reigns supreme. This is a place where the hippo is basically the boss ruler of the watery realm. No creature under 2 tons is going to challenge a hippo without paying a serious price. This beast is like a tank with jaws, and it's ready to rumble if provoked. On the river's edge, the hippo's sheer size and brutal power make it nearly unbeatable. You're just not going to outmuscle a living, breathing tank. So, if we're talking a one-on-one showdown where it's fight to the finish, I'd put my money on the hippo 9 times out of 10. But and here's the fun part: if the competition shifts to intelligence, social skills, or even who would win at creating viral TikTok videos, the gorilla definitely takes the crown. They're clever, playful, and have a whole social network to rely on. To sum it up, the gorilla's game plan is all about brains and finesse, knowing when to flex and when to back off. The hippo, it's pure, unstoppable brute force that doesn't need much of an excuse to throw down. My personal take: the gorilla might outthink you in chess, but if things turn into Mortal Kombat, the hippo is the last beast standing. You just don't outsmart a crushing machine. Climbing trees, easy. Sneaking away, even easier. The gorilla's best winning move here isn't to fight head-on, but to outsmart danger by staying alive. Sometimes the smartest win is simply not getting caught. Now switch the scene to the muddy riverbanks or the water's edge where the hippo rules. Here, the hippo is an absolute powerhouse. It weighs in at over 2 tons, with thick armor-like skin, and a bite that could snap a small car in half. No creature smaller than that is going to challenge this river beast without paying a heavy price, literally risking bones and blood. So if you're near the hippo's watery kingdom, forget trying to outmuscle it. The hippo is the undisputed heavyweight champ of the swamp. So who's the ultimate winner? In a straight-up fight where survival is all or nothing, I'd bet on the hippo 9 times out of 10. But if the contest shifts to brains, social skills, and maybe even who's got the better dance moves on TikTok, the gorilla is the real MVP. These guys are clever, playful, and masters of communication and cooperation. Alright, let's talk about how these 2 giants interact with us humans because, honestly, it's a fascinating and important topic. First up, gorillas. These gentle giants are surprisingly shy and usually mind their own business. They're not looking for trouble and tend to avoid humans whenever possible. Think of them like that quiet neighbor who prefers chilling in their backyard rather than throwing wild parties. However, don't get me wrong, if a gorilla feels threatened or cornered, it can get serious really fast. They have immense strength and won't hesitate to defend themselves, but typically, they just want peace and quiet. Now, the hippopotamus is a whole different story. This massive beast is actually one of the deadliest animals in Africa when it comes to human encounters. Here's the kicker: it's not hunting for food when it attacks. Nope, hippos get aggressive because you've dared to invade their personal space, especially near the water. Imagine you're peacefully kayaking and suddenly this 4,000-pound tank decides you're messing with its nap time. Yeah, not a good day. So here's the golden rule from your friendly wildlife expert. Never, and I mean never, try to shake hands or get too close to either of these animals. You might think you're making a new friend, but the reality, you could lose a hand or worse. Trust me, respecting their space is the smartest move you can make. Wildlife encounters are amazing, but safety always comes first. Hey wildlife fans, if you love diving into the wild showdown between the gorilla and the hippo, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on more epic animal face-offs and fascinating nature facts. Thoughts or questions? Drop a comment below. I love hearing what you think and any crazy animal stories you want to share. Let's keep the conversation wild and fun.